So thank you for telling your story. And with this, it is time for our game, Would You Rather?
Should I be nervous? Should I be nervous?
Really? I don't think so.
Our guests were actually really nervous, but then as they go through the game, they enjoy it, and they even ask more questions. They're like, "Can you ask more?" And we're like, "Okay." So, as we tried to explain earlier, the rules are very simple. We'll give you two choices, and it could be like something you choose from or different scenarios, but you don't really have to think about it. Just say what's the first thing on your mind, and I could just enjoy the game, really.
Okay.
Okay. So for our first question, let's do a do-re-mi question.
Oh, okay.
If you would draft someone into a sports team, and you can only pick one, would it be Miss Donna Cruz or Regine Velasquez? And
Regine.
Why? Oh,
That's so fast. How come?
Regine, even if Donna actually ran marathons, Donna's our baby. She's like the one we hug, and then the one, like that. And Regine, I think she's a fighter.
And what sport do you think she would?
Oh gosh, that I don't know. That I have no idea. Because I've never heard her talk about sport.
Oh really?
Yeah.
But you think she'd be well if she was drafted into a sports team just because she has that feisty, she's a fighter.
Yeah. Not that Donna's not. It's just that even with me when I was coaching and I had to pick students, that's more the kind of student that I was picking.
Oh, I love it. And for old time's sake, we would like to ask you if you can pasample ng song just for
my God!
sake. And I'm sure everybody would want to hear it as well. We were talking about it earlier, and they were like, "We need to ask her to sing."
Oh my gosh, are you serious?
Yeah.
Later in the end, before we go.
Okay. Oh my gosh, that's so funny. Well, let's move on to the second question. So if you had a choice to go back in the 90s, which is for me a really awesome era, would you rather be a full-time actress here in the Philippines or a full-time equestrian who travels and competes all over the world?
Full-time equestrian.
Yes.
But you know what? I wouldn't have been able to do it without the work, without being an actress, because my being an actress paid for me to, stay as an athlete. So I wouldn't have been able to do one without the other.
Oh, I love that. And when you were shooting the shows, were you really badly injured? And then that it was very
No, actually, that's why things ended up overlapping, because in the planning stages of my movie, I was healing. So by the time we could actually start shooting the film, I was already well. I was already training. So that made the sleep part harder, but
oh, that's crazy. Okay.
Okay. For the next question, you mentioned earlier that if you would not have gotten injured, you could have possibly played basketball. So would you have rather played basketball in college instead of equestrian?
I think I would have found a way to do both.
Yes. Double varsity.
Nice.
Well, there was no equestrian team, sadly. Although I did have a batchmate who was also on the national team, Tony Leviste. Mm-hmm. So we were in the same batch and we were teammates also.
And what would your position be if you had played basketball?
Probably a shooting guard.
Oh, we got a shooter.
What did you play, Nina?
I was a small forward, so about 3'4".
Yeah. How tall are you? Ako na yung nag-interview.
I'm only 5'7".
Okay, so about the same. Yeah.
Yeah, our team was kind of short, so that's why I kind of had to stretch around positions.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Cool. Versatile.
Yes. have to be.
Yeah.
So for the fourth and final question, this should be easy for you. Would you rather enter local politics one day or be the one silently helping in the background?
Silently helping.
Could you tell us why?
Which, by the way, because I had that experience of being an SK member already. And, I thought my dad was going to be really excited that I was getting into government service because my mom was. And he said, you know what? You're so young. He said, if you get into government service, you have to know that it's public service. It's not politics. You're not supposed to be in the world of politics. And the minute that you start to see certain advantages opening up to you because of that position you're in, there's something that's not right that's going on. And he said, I don't know if I want that kind of pressure on a teenager because it's not necessarily going to give you the best learning experience or the most positive experience. He said, I want you to live your life. He said, gusto kong magsawa ka muna with thinking of yourself. Because when you're in public service, you have to think about others.
Yeah.
The greater good, not what you think in your opinion would be good based on what you want, you know?
Yes.
So from that experience, I also saw what it's like when you're the one in the limelight. It's hard to work. It's hard to work because you're expected to be here, you're expected to be there, you're expected to smile and shake hands, and you're like, when am I gonna work? When am I gonna sit down and use my brain and work? You know, so in that sense, for those reasons, and mind you, I just finished campaigning for myself, right? And I grew up campaigning for my parents, campaigning for my husband. It's very hard to campaign for yourself. So I think
when you're campaigning for your family and when you're campaigning for yourself,
it's so easy to campaign for someone else because you say, you know what, I really believe in this person and these are the traits of this person and this is what this person can do for us. And if it's for yourself, parang you're like, yabang ko naman, it's like you have to convince them that you can do the job, right? And it's not so easy. And especially when you're someone that, like for me, I don't like being put on a spot. I don't like, how some people come up to you and they're like, hi, do you remember me? And then you're like, yeah, what's my name? Those kinds of situations, right?
Yeah.
That kind of feeling. It's difficult. It's like when people are campaigning to me, I don't like to be put in a spot. I don't like to be told, so this is why you should support me, and so do you support me, like that. There are people that approach you like that, and for me, I don't really like it. So I'm very careful how I also approach other people. And there's no formula. You have to just be sensitive and just react, listen and react like that. So that's why it's hard, and it's also hard to focus. I think it's when you're on stage and not on the ground, there are a lot of different things that you can and can't do. So for me, I found myself I've been able to get a lot done a bit more stealth than like in front.
Yeah. And that's actually absolutely right, because that's what they teach us in the 4 or 5 years that we're studying in Ateneo. It's all about being a man for others. It's about, okay, let's focus on ourselves in these 4 years, try to study and do the best we can. And after graduation, what can we do to give back? What opportunities can we do to give back to people? So yeah, that's actually really crazy. It all comes full circle here. And thank you so much, Miss Mikee. That wraps up our Would You Rather quiz. And can you
Did I pass?
Flying colors.
Smart Sports, Tiebreaker Vodcast. She just knocked down a 3. She just scored the game-winning goal. So she did.